And we're live. Welcome, Matt, Kate, and Corey, my amazing and intrepid players. So this is, might call it Session 1, might call it Session 0.3 of the Sprawling City campaign. We've created a world. We've left some things still to do, but we haven't drawn it out in exhaustive detail. But we have created a world, and we are now going to finish making characters and playing it. That's kind of my plan for the evening. Finish character creation, and talk about the game a little bit, and maybe get started playing. Time allowing. Sound good?
Yep. Let's do it.
Excellent. Yep. Did you guys notice I created 5 more factions in the world creation document?
Nope.
So, well, if you go to the world creation document, here, I'll put the link into our chat. There are 5 more factions that are currently created, and I know that we will make more. We will certainly be making more, possibly even more tonight as we go on. But that's to start. So, you guys we have created a kind of we've created a hideout. We have created a hideout for you guys to start out in, a thought on a gang for you guys to be building up, and our game will certainly begin there, in the tangle of cables, cords, and enormous wires that all wrap around together in the ruin of an old sky bridge that is half cracked and fallen apart on one side. And the other side has so many snapped cables, it creates an almost village in the air, suspended. And that's where you have your hideout, which I would suggest maybe we call it the Rat's Nest.
Sounds good to me.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
So you're in the Rat's Nest, and imagine this as kind of the character creator, in the RPG, if you will. You guys are sitting around in kind of a cramped common area with old pizza boxes and a few half-taken apart machines, a small shrine to some old gods in one corner of the irregular room. Going around, you formed your little fact finders organization, which you haven't named yet, but that's alright. You meet in the Rat's Nest, and you are introducing yourselves to one another, taking stock, if you will, of the current leadership of your little outfit. So, I think, Corey, you were just describing your character right before we started. Would you mind continuing or starting over from the beginning for the benefit of Twitch?
Sure. Yeah, so my character is a pixie from the Winter Court. And so he's about 3 feet tall. And he's got raven wings, very clammy white skin. People don't really make clothing that's big enough to fit, or that's small enough to fit a person of this size, and so he's mostly wearing like makeshift stuff that he found on like old dolls and stuff.
I love
that. I love that. How tall is he?
About 3 feet tall.
Oh, 3 feet. Okay, I thought you said inches for a second.
No.
Whoa,
God,
that
no.
is small. Okay.
Yeah. But to show everybody that he's very serious and not somebody to be taken lightly, he also has a pink mohawk.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
That is serious.
Yes, and his name, his code name is Buzz, but he doesn't get why people call him that because he has raven wings, so he doesn't actually make a buzzing sound. And pay no attention to the fact that he's constantly talking.
Got it.
Alrighty then.
Very cool. And he is a magic soul, isn't that right?
That is correct. I said last time that I was going to be an occultist, but I switched that up. I'm going to be a wise one instead. So right now his special ability is that he can summon spirits from the world around him. And
oh boy, going back to an old thing from Shadowrun, aren't you?
Yeah, something like that. I was having that conversation with Dave, and it reminded me of some things. So
interesting.
It's a fun archetype.
So the magic soul works by summoning spirits to do their bidding. Can you talk about a few of the things that a few of the specialties that Buzz has? I'm sorry.
Yes.
The wise one. I said magic souls. I meant the wise one.
Yeah. So the wise one is definitely focused a lot on the spirit world and channeling spirits. The main thing I've got right now is actually bringing them into the world from the environment, but later I'll also be able to do things like touch an object and be able to get information about its owner or past events surrounding that object. I'll be able to teleport to talismans that I leave behind by traveling through the spirit world. And I'll be able to channel a spirit into my own body in order to get various other benefits, like becoming incorporeal or getting access to the spirit's powers. But what
Very
Buzz is really good at,
isn't it?
Yes,
it's animist. Objects have spirits.
Yeah, there's another discipline that's much more focused on the natural side of that as well. Like being able to channel animal spirits when you embody that animal, that kind of thing. But that's not what Buzz is going for.
Very cool.
Yeah, so as far as his abilities and stuff go, Buzz is much more of a thinker than a doer. He's got a lot of points in Intuit. He's very good at citing things, analyzing, and finding information. Not so good at like successfully influencing people to do things, or having direct confrontations with people.
One of the things that really got me excited about Karma in the Dark was the fact that there's a cite, C-I-T-E, action, which I think is a really weird and awesome skill to put in a game.
Yeah, I've got 2 points in that.
Got it. So I would be guessing that Buzz is probably the caretaker, or at least the most interested in the shrines that are in the Rat's Nest.
Yeah,
such
absolutely.
as they are. Nothing. You guys don't have anything fancy there yet, but everybody has something.
Yeah. Also worth noting that Buzz has absolutely no relevance markers because he is at the bottom rung of the Unseelie Court, or being a pixie. And so while the Unseelie Court itself has a lot of power, he has no power within it. And so so those connections are really useful. Most of the Unseelie Court would see him as an annoyance rather than an asset.
So that makes sense for within the court, but I still feel like being a member of a powerful court puts him above, like, the orcs.
Well, that's the thing, is that I feel like pixies are plentiful, or would be plentiful enough within the court that nobody's going to care if one or two goes missing. And so it's like he doesn't even have the implied threat of, like, oh yeah, if you deal with me, you're dealing with the Unseelie Court. Everybody knows that you can mess with pixies. Now,
there may be things in this world that we might call orcs, but we did not put in classic Tolkien-esque things as a guaranteed race in the world. But so they would probably fit into one of our established categories, like the Unseelie Court.
Remember where that list is. Oh, here it is.
That is under World Creation in the bottom left.
Yeah, I found it.
The Core Elements tab. So yeah, they would probably be considered part of the Unseelie Court, as with this kind of pixie that has raven wings. You said that Buzz picked up the nickname Buzz as a kind of one of those weird nickname, reverse nickname things where he doesn't make a buzzing sound, even though lots of pixies do. I would say likely a lot of the Seelie Court pixies would make a buzzing sound. They have dragonfly wings.
Yeah, that's kind of what I would figure as well.
Yeah.
So, before I move on, because I know that the other players are still working some stuff out, which is fine. That's the purpose of Session 1. What is Buzz's refreshment of choice? What is he drinking or snacking on as you guys are having this initial get on the same page meeting, seated around your irregular room in the Rat's Nest?
I think it's some variation of soda pop. I think the idea of a drink that fizzes fascinates him. And he loves that carbonation effect.
Stand by.
And that sugar.
He probably uses a lot of energy to fly.
That's probably true too.
Maybe he has a sweet tooth. Okay, so you are drinking Crimson Volcano, which is a Vertex Systems brand soda that is mildly enchanted, so that it constantly overflows, erupting from the bottle once you open it, for about 15-20 minutes, like a volcano. But it's enchanted, so it never actually spills down all the way. It just kind of, the fizz just kind of is sucked back into the bottle as part of the enchantment on the liquid.
That's perfect. That would absolutely be his favorite drink.
So there's this mass of red foam that he is like gulping down as Buzz is having this initial talk with you guys. Let's see. What are... Now, I know that you guys picked some goals and such for your team. Does it have you do something similar for character creation?
Yes.
Your XP triggers.
Yes.
Yep.
Have you chosen those, Corey?
I have.
Would you mind sharing them with us?
Yeah, so So Buzz gets experience when he addresses a challenge with supernatural allies or perception, and whenever he attempts to seek out wisdom.
Right, he's analytical, but like hyper.
Oh yes,
Analytical.
it's very easy for him to get distracted, but the main thing that distracts him is the potential for new knowledge. Like, he loves learning more than anything else.
Hello, Grimslag. Welcome. We are introducing the characters. That's cool. Have you chosen your rebellion and personal code? Because we're talking about this because this is both happening in and out of game. You can feel free to, if you want to feel like talking in character for a bit, you can, but it's not necessary. We're talking in and out of game as you guys are sitting around talking about like why you're formulating this group and what each of you brings to the digital table. So if you don't mind sharing the code, the rebellion, the code, and the contacts. Actually, we'll do contacts later. We'll do contacts.
Yeah, I haven't gotten
We'll
that
do
far.
contacts at the end as a group. But if you don't mind sharing the rebellion for Buzz and his personal code, that would be great.
Sure. So Buzz's rebellion is he rebels against exploitation because as a member of the lowest rank of the Unseelie Court, he knows what it's like to be abused and trashed on by the people who are supposed to be supporting you. And so he absolutely hates that type of behavior, and that's what he likes to try to stop. He kind of wants to create structures that are more symbiotic in nature, where the pixies, or using the pixies as an example, they actually get something in exchange for their service to the Unseelie Court, as opposed to just being seen as things that can be used and then tossed when they're not necessary anymore.
Okay. We are definitely going to have to talk about the Unseelie Court not just as a heritage, but as a guild, as an organization. I wonder if he has a chip on his shoulder against the leadership, or if it's more anger toward people lower down. You don't have to decide right now. But is it more like maybe he doesn't blame the leadership of the Unseelie Court necessarily because they're not directly involved with him, but more the way he's been treated by middle management, as it were.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. I wonder if he has complicated feelings. I wonder if he has complicated feelings about the Winter Queen.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that he does believe that I know the Winter Queen would not approve of is his personal code, which is that if a vulnerable person is hurt, I will always show compassion.
Interesting.
So, having been the person who has been hurt a lot of times by people that he thought he could trust, he's willing to empathize in that situation and try to help how he can. Which I don't think is something that Mab would approve of.
Hard to say. You said Mab because you are referring to one of her names from the Dresden Files.
Yes. Although that's also one of her names in traditional lore, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's just where, I don't know, I just hazarded a guess that's where you were getting it from.
That's true, yes.
Or a reference, but yes.
Yes, that is where I learned the most about the Unseelie Court, but I've done a little bit more research beyond that.
Oh, cool. All right, Matt. Now I know you haven't created everything, but just tell us what you've got so far, my friend.
Yeah. So far, I made a cyber soul, specifically a tech jockey synthetic speaker, like subclass, whatever you want to call these choices we're making, which is all about sort of communicating with machines more than like directly controlling them. And so he tech jockey, and then synthetic speaker is the like specific thing within
the specific type.
Yeah,
of tech
which is actually it's very similar to what is it, the wise one that Corey was just describing. That it's sort of like the machine version of that, where like gradually would gain more like ability to talk to and control drones and things like that instead of spirits. It's like the machine version of the spirit mage type deal.
If this were not a narrative game but a tactical one, I would right now start getting really worried about the action economy.
Yeah. Every turn takes 4 hours.
Yeah, because it would be like your turn takes 4 hours, Corey's turn takes 4 hours, and then Kate is like,
I step forward.
I take a drug.
That's correct.
Yeah, so there will be a little bit of similarity there, but hopefully we can take it in different directions. Thematically, like I'm kind of picturing. I've been trying to find a really good image for this, and I haven't really found one. I'm basically picturing a cyberpunk hobo. In terms of the look, like.
That's definitely going to fit in the rat's nest.
Right. It's perfect. I love everything about that. So this, like, this guy may even have been like one of the original like people who kind of helped build out the actual like living space. His relevance markers wise, I'm not totally locked in on his heritage yet, but I'm thinking sort of what we had called ugly heritages, possibly the demonic one. And then I was thinking guild member, just to kind of make it interesting, but I'm having trouble coming up with why he would still be a guild member.
He would probably, have like an invalid license in some way.
Okay,
like it's expired, or
but narratively, he's not really a member in good standing anymore.
Right. You guys. Okay. There's no way for you guys to be part of the in crowd. That's core to the.
Well, that's what I was struggling with the relevance markers.
But he could have like a certain interesting heritage there, where he has an expired license, or it was revoked for some reason, but he still has the code.
Okay, so but he would still have the sort of some of the knowledge and certainly a little bit of the relevance from it. Yeah, so that's
what guild though? What guild? Mechanics?
I don't know yet. That's maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Also worth noting,
Grease Monkey?
I was just saying that's not completely true as I understand it. So when I was looking at what they were talking about with the relevance markers, that's implying like which parts of the in crowd are you in?
That's true.
If you are, and so you could still be a part of a guild, and that would give you a relevance marker.
Yeah.
Which can give you some advantages, but you get less maximum stress as a result of that.
That's what I was leaning towards originally, was just to keep it a little bit interesting, not have us all be all zeros. The one that I was more interested in was that one. But narratively, I can't really think of a reason why a member of our group would still be like an in good faith member of the guilds. So I think I'm leaning towards like at best former or expired or something.
Well, you wouldn't be keeping current with your job necessarily.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think there's some very interesting possibilities there. So you're kind of focusing on drones. That's also the guild you created.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why I was thinking about it a lot. Was it was on my mind. If only, like, it's not necessarily going to be all drones all the time. I think that's the way the game sets up this particular character type, is to be sort of drone focused, but I don't know if that's going to be the most interesting thing. I kind of like the idea that, like, it's essentially a like Warhammer tech priest, where like rather than actually interacting with the machine as if it's a machine, he's going to interact with all machines as if they can talk to him.
I love that. Hang on 1 second. Thank you to Lion Nation. Thanks, bro, for the Twitch Prime sub on a 2-month streak and the 100 bits. You're awesome, man. Thanks for supporting the stream. That's
so, like,
cool. So
I almost don't want him to be a guild member that is relevant to this. Like, I almost want him to not actually understand how machines actually work, because it's more interesting that he's always trying to talk to them that way. But that doesn't actually work terribly well mechanically, so I'm still playing with that idea a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's the potential that it's just like he's a savant, where he
just knows how to put things together.
Yeah, he knows how to put things together, but because of his lack of formal training, he kind of assumes that the machine wants to be put together.
Right, so, and it reaches a certain point, and then it starts talking back, and then it gets easier.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm kind of picturing
he may refer to machines as though they were alive. And
yeah, I think that is absolutely the case, that he sees these as living creatures, essentially, at least. So yeah,
he hears a bunch of beeps and dials and whirring noises, and he constructs a language out of it.
Yeah, and I'm not mechanically, I'm not sure. It literally says machines talk when you analyze them, but yeah, I don't think it makes sense that they literally just start having a conversation with them. I think that might be
it might not be literal. Yeah, but it might be the best way that you and I have of modeling how your character interacts with machines.
Right. It's there's a conversation that happens, but it's not words really.
Although it may be on your end, other people can't necessarily hear it.
Right.
But then lots of machines can talk, after all.
Yeah, it is the magical future sort of thing. So, it's the fact that our phones nowadays can basically understand some amount of commands. It is reasonable to think that.
That's true.
I just like the idea of every basic machine interaction, he's going to approach it as a conversation more than a. He doesn't have any points or he has 1 point in operate, but he probably won't use operate as a first choice.
Okay, what would be his first choice?
So probably analyze or engineer, and then influence. That's the thing, is his special ability, Chatterbox, is that when he analyzes machines, he can then influence them. So I really like the idea that he's basically smart talking the toaster.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that. There is a concept that we can carry over from Shadowrun, which is that a lot of everyday objects are connected to the internet.
Oh yeah, and the feed is sort of everywhere anyway. So
the feed is everywhere. The feed is everywhere. Excellent. Okay.
So that's what I've got for a concept right now. I'm still struggling with specifics, which guild, and those kind of details.
So his strongest things that he brings to the table, because remember, you guys got a free action dot from Team Creation.
Yep, which I already spent. So
and then you got,
everyone else hasn't, they
four
should.
More as you create your character, but you can't go higher than 2 in anything.
Yep.
What are his strengths? Is it analyze,
engineer, and influence are all
analyze,
2s.
Engineer, and influence. Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. So is he kind of like a grease monkey, kind of hobo-ish?
Yeah.
Is he into cars?
Well, maybe not.
Or just
cars.
Drones?
Probably more. Things that have a little bit more sort of agency on their own.
Well, what about self-driving cars?
Yeah, he'd probably approach that the way we might approach a bison. It's
I would run the opposite direction and watch my step.
Or you'd be like okay, let's be cool. Whereas the average drone, is more like a dog or a cat, probably, in terms of how he would treat it.
Okay, got it. So something to be respected, and protected.
Like a self-driving car, if you made it mad, it could hurt you, so he would like, especially like a self-driving helicopter or something would be.
Who's a good aerial attack drone?
He doesn't necessarily, right, he feels affection for you.
Certainly, yes. Yeah, that is part of it.
I think his character is starting to coalesce a little strongly here.
Yeah, and that's like I had that core like behavior part sort of vaguely thought out, but I'm still struggling with a little bit of his personality and look and stuff like that, and how what is a little bit of his backstory would be. In terms of the other stuff on the sheet, so I'm not thinking he's particularly into religion, so he's definitely weak on that side. So at the only relevance marker he would possibly have would be the guild member one, and it's sounding like that's sort of even a little bit fuzzy whether he's really he wouldn't really be a guild member anymore. He'd be some sort of former member.
Yeah. I mean, even if he's still like in good standing with a lot of guild members, that's still something that could be valuable, both in terms of
like maybe that
being a resource for
the
you.
Guild itself, like, maybe he's lapsed with.
Well,
but like he's still friends with some people. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. You have to decide whether you want people in this guild to be friendly toward him, or do you want people who have been kicked out or on the outside, unlicensed, non-guild members? Do you want them to like him? Be more likely to feel a connection with him.
I mean, where do you feel about the like former guild member thing? Does that put him on the outs with the current guild members, or does that?
Yeah, probably. Because basically, you're in or you're out, right? Because membership or non-membership is a relevance marker. But if he's still on good terms with them, then it's different.
There's also something to be said for like the people that never came close to being a guild member are still lot worse off, right?
Do you want him to be more at ease among the enfranchised or the disenfranchised?
I mean, I think the disenfranchised, based on what his current status is.
Okay.
But I think there might be something interesting narratively about an ex-guild member, and I just don't know how that works with the relevance system.
I think that is automatically interesting because it suggests a story.
Right. So I like the idea that like he was in the in crowd and then opted to leave.
Oh.
Because to fill out the rest of this, like his rebellion is consumption, and his personal code is that if something is broken, he will fix it.
What does the rebellion consumption mean?
I thought about this last week, so I don't have it in front of me right now. But it's my recollection is that it's basically this like consumer culture about like use once goods and things like that. That like he sees everything. He sees it as wasteful and would rather like repair and fix things.
So he wants to go green.
Basically, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It has a lot of resonance with like modern society as well. So I feel like he might have been in the, let's say, Mechanics Guild and was seeing a lot of things just get thrown aside that could have been fixed because it wasn't like worth it to be fixing them. And so if you think about like treating those more like animals and things that have value, you might see how you get disgusted by seeing drones just being thrown in the trash. So that was the thought there.
I don't know if you're looking at Roll20, but I'm putting on all my drone tokens.
I have my character sheet up because that was the most relevant thing.
Nice. That's a lot of drones.
I see one drone right now.
Corey's.
There they are.
Corey's fought a lot of these. And Kate.
But yeah, so that's about really as far as I've gotten with him. I don't, like I said, I wanted some ugly heritage. I don't know exactly which one, and I have this core concept figured out, and I have all his stats figured out, but I don't know what his nickname is yet. I don't know what his actual name is yet.
That's okay. Yeah. I can suggest something if you want, or we can just kind of let that grow during play.
Well, I was basically trying to find like interesting archaic words for like repair, fix, etc. Because that's, Dredge didn't really come out of that process. It was just more of a, hey, this was a fun word, but
sure.
But I'll come up with something for him.
Cool. Interesting. So what is your character's refreshment of choice?
Yeah, I was thinking about that when you asked. I'm picturing, I don't know if it would be like, if it's coffee or beer or what it is, but it's something that, like, you distill with, like, some kind of bizarre contraption that he's cobbled together. So it's like you pour, like, literal, like, sewer water in one end, and you get out.
Boy.
Like, you get out something nice on the other end.
I see. Reclaimed.
Yeah, it's something. It would be
liquid.
something reclaimed and run through some kind of bizarrely constructed thing, like a still. So yeah, it may literally be like bathtub gin or something.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, specifically if you wanna, because it's definitely not like a corporate, like, it's definitely something kind of homebrew. Coffee's fun because, like, you can picture the Breaking Bad coffee maker thing with all the beakers and whatnot.
Somebody's phone is going on.
That's on my end. Sorry. I'm trying to wait for it to stop. It won't stop.
Classic. Okay. So in one hand, your character has a soy calf.
The phone stopped.
Congratulations. In one hand, your character has, like, a soy calf coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And in the other, he has this glass bottle called you think of him as a beer drinker?
Well, so I personally am not a beer drinker, so I don't.
Okay.
But
in the other hand, he has a bottle, a glass bottle with a handwritten label stuck to it that says "Potato Blaze," and it is in fact a non-big brand, a kind of a local. There's somebody around the corner who makes this stuff in an old cistern.
And is it beer? Is it vodka? What is it?
It's vodka.
But it's, yeah, okay.
Sometimes they make beer. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
What type of alcohol it is depends on what kind of stuff they were able to scrounge up that week.
Exactly.
Well, this is Potato Blaze, so there's probably other variants.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, if you prefer, he could have Flaming Dog beer.
Yeah, he probably goes with whatever is available. There's a little bit of scrounger,
which is made from reclaimed piss of devil dogs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
City altered beasts that are unusually large and vicious and stalk the lowest levels of the city. All right. Getting a picture of him.
There's a score there, I think, to be had.
Absolutely.
Somebody has to go down there and collect that.
Oh man. I get there's probably more money in that than you would assume. Okay. Kate, tell us about Badge.
looking at my character sheet because I was having a hard time navigating it. But so Badge used to be a member of the police. And she, like the official, like, city police force. And she very, very much got thrown out. And, like, I mean, if they were telling you their version of why she got thrown out, it would be just, like, heavy, pervasive drug use. But...
Okay.
Perhaps what her version of it is that, yes, that was true, and yes, she was stealing drugs from lockup and doing them while she was on duty, but it was really just more of a coping mechanism for kind of realizing that she was part of, like, the machine of oppression and stuff like that. So she wound up getting kicked out, and now she's basically decided to just kind of keep doing what she did before, tracking down bad guys outside of the law. And she believes in her soul that her drug addiction, specifically her addiction to various types of hallucinogenic drugs, gives her better detective skills than she had while she was legitimately on the force.
Okay. Interesting. So she sees this as a blessing in disguise.
Yes.
Interesting. An ex-cop kicked out for doing drugs. Very punk. And so she is basically trying to do good. Interesting.
Yep.
Have you picked any of your primary? Have you picked any of your XP triggers or kind of your best skills? Or do you know what direction you're going to go with that, at least?
Yeah. So, her XP triggers are... Scroll down. Addressed a challenge with evasion. Attempted to run from my past. Expressed code rebellion or heritage, or struggled with jaded instincts or attitude during this.
I couldn't hear that last bit.
Struggled with jaded instincts or attitude during the session.
That's a standard one. The last two are standard.
Yeah.
One thing, we didn't go over my guys, not that it matters, but I have 2 things in that first category. Addressed a challenge with, I have 2 in there for some reason.
Yeah, you get to pick 2.
Oh, okay, cool. I missed that. Okay, I will pick another one then.
Max, did you want those for my guy, or just let them come up as they come up?
Please, tell me.
I had addressed a challenge with collaboration and invention, and attempted to befriend a machine.
I like both of those. Cool. All right. I liked your XP triggers badge. And I like that name too, Badge. Does she still have her badge for some reason? Is it just deactivated?
Yeah, she still has it, but she mutilated it. And
is it a physical badge in this future?
It would certainly have both elements of, it would be physical and it would have like a satellite uplink that she's probably deactivated at this point.
Very much so.
Do you know what kind of skills Badge is going to be a specialist in? What does she bring to the table?
Yeah. So her obviously she's got just click on the thing. Oh no, that was your color.
I could see a couple of different options.
So she's got her cool. So she's got her ex-cop training. So her specialties are analyze, sight, and intuit. And then she also has a point in stealth.
Okay. So 3 expert analysts in this game.
Well, this is a detective game, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Nobody said that.
Gonna be a lot of group action analyze.
That should be now. So analyze is you may want to read it more closely because it is not like study. That would be sight.
Yeah.
Analyze is more like in the moment.
Isn't it like
perceiving what's going on.
Survey or
like
investigation
survey.
from D&D?
It's less like investigation from D&D.
Okay.
It's more like perception plus insight.
Mm-hmm. There's also
Perception
intuit,
plus
which is a
sense
different.
motive for those of you who are.
Yeah.
This game has intuit, which is what I thought insight would most directly.
Well, yes, but you may not get an insight into what people are thinking, but to analyze a situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than
So their description or their brief description for these categories: analyze data and devices, recognize patterns, critically examine, and problem solve. Whereas intuit is intuit hidden truths, judge someone's intentions, read a situation, notice subtle changes or clues in the environment, or seek the source. Which seeking the source is something that anybody can do. It's basically the equivalent of a sensing from Blades, where like if you can come up with a reasonable connection, then you can kind of mystically gather information. So like, a good example is if I see a footprint that's in the vicinity, then I could find the path to the exit.
Now, sight is relying on memory and academic thinking. So, putting together information that you've learned earlier, certain things like, do you remember this or that kind of problem solving. I guess analyze is a little bit more. It's taking in new information.
Yeah.
Whereas sight is using old information. So I just wanted to kind of point
that's
out.
a good definition, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Sight is more about memory, where analyze is more about like problem solving and critical thinking.
But of course, there is lots of crossover. I just wanted to point out that. I just wanted to point that out because it's a new system to us.
Yep. The other skill that's worth bringing up as part of this conversation is seek, which is in Meatbod. And you seek with your senses, track a target, find an escape or specific location, make a precise attack, e.g. sniper fire or a called shot. So if you're wanting to, like, that's closer to some combination of survey and hunt from Blades.
Cool.
So being able to gather information from your surrounding, notice things, that's mostly seek rolls.
Okay.
So my core thing is built around analyze because that's what powers my special ability. So I'm pretty confident that I want to have that strong. But if we're gonna be like way over the top into analyze, like
no, I don't think that's a problem at all. I just noting it in passing. After all, it's possible that different people could analyze the same piece of information, or need to analyze different pieces of information, and come to different conclusions.
Based on how Blades went, we're all going to be looking in different directions anyway.
Yeah, that's very true. Also worth noting, like I said, analyze is one of my things. I've got 1 point. I've got 2 dots in 2 different things, and that's Intuit and Seek.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And then I've got 1 dot in 4 other things.
Seek is also what you use for sniping, firing a sniper weapon.
I put the 1 extra point that we got from the team thing into Seek. Because it seemed helpful for our
Well, that was all
goals.
very informative, but back to Badge.
Yes.
So this character is really, I like the kind of very visceral background story that she has.
Yeah, that was good.
Do you know what her rebellion and personal code are?
Yes, her rebellion is injustice, and her personal code is if I learn that someone has escaped their rightful consequences, I will force retribution myself.
Whoa!
Wow.
Nice.
So you
got our
are
justice seeker.
You okay? So you don't let people get away with stuff. Buzz,
So we have a paladin, we have a druid.
What was Buzz's again?
What's that?
Matt, your character's was anti-consume, right?
Yeah.
Consume but opposite.
Well, it was one of the options that, and wherever I was looking, it was just said consumption as the rebellion thing.
Well,
there's 2 different lists.
Yeah, the question is, what do you fight? And so you fight consumption, where I fight exploitation.
Yeah, and then they're paired with the other list, I guess.
The personal code.
No, the trauma equivalent.
Oh yeah, sort of.
The one of those that
It's being jaded.
I'm trying to figure out, like, when would exploitation not apply? Isn't that kind of like what the whole world is built on? Or am I misunderstanding?
Consumption too. I mean,
So,
I think they all apply all the time.
Well, no, consumption. You know, and Kate's thing is like that's a kind of a specific RP situation. I'm trying to get a grip on Buzz's, and I don't think I quite understand it yet.
Well,
so to me, exploitation, it's not just like, you know, what the system does in general. Like, yes, there is a lot of exploitation that happens in the world.
It's like background
specifically, specifically what he fights is like when he sees a superior deliberately taking advantage of one of their subordinates. Like, it's not just a case of generic someone's being cruel to someone. It's when someone who has authority over another person abuses that authority.
Yeah, I think there's like a baseline for each of these things that is just like background noise, right? Like, this is a very wasteful, consumptive society. There's a ton of injustice. There's a ton of exploitation, but it's not in our faces constantly. When it is in our faces, that's when these things matter. Right?
Is that how you see it, Corey?
Yeah, pretty much. It's, you know, it's kind of one of those things, and it's also worth noting that this is this game's equivalent of Vice, and so like this is how we relieve stress, and so it's just kind of, you know, when we're doing it, you ask how we're choosing to fight it today. There's any number of ways, but I need to come up with something.
Yeah,
and just saying I'm going to fight exploitation, that's too broad.
Lets you know you're fighting the good fight, I guess.
Yeah.
You can't just go out and yell at the sky. You have to like actually go do something specific.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
But like I don't care if a store is swindling its customers, because that's different from a manager stealing from his employees' payroll.
Well, and they're both it's like if it's a vice, right? It's like one of them is the equivalent of like, you know, tobacco, and the other one is hard drugs. You know, it's like, you know, just like with the vices, there were strong and weak versions.
Villas Farthuk in the Twitch chat suggests, yeah, like a bar owner taking all of their workers' tips at the end of the night would be a mild form of exploitation that an individual could fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So
like you might go rough that guy up.
On an individual
to feel good.
All right, cool. So
hopefully that's not some personal experience.
Right. So badge is if somebody's getting away with something, then I'll always track them down and make sure they pay.
Yeah.
And
which also seems like the kind of thing that might get you kicked off the force.
What was her rebellion again?
Injustice.
Injustice. Okay. Got it. All right. Well, that's all good stuff. What an interesting trio we have at the...
I like that we all picked different rebellion things. That was nice.
Nest. What is Badge's refreshment of choice?
Probably like an entire handle of whiskey.
But what kind of whiskey? Who made it? Was it the guy around the corner?
All right, we'll say that
it's not nice whiskey.
All right, so I like that. So one of you is drinking super sugary magic soda. One of you has a soy calf, terrible coffee in one hand, and a piss beer, a literal piss beer, made from devil dogs in the other. And then you have, like, an entire handle of whiskey.
Yep.
And you said also from the guy around the corner? Or
probably.
Just the local.
I don't know if
local
distillery. I don't know if he has whiskey.
Well, I mean,
he doesn't necessarily. He has hooch. You know, he doesn't necessarily have. I think if she would go for, so whiskey comes in. So is it like cheap bourbon or is it like nice whiskey?
Oh no, it's whatever's cheap.
All right. Okay. So you are drinking. So you have. Does she drink from the bottle or does she have a glass? Does she pour it into a glass? Does she literally drink straight from the bottle? That's what I thought. Okay. All right. So you're drinking. Final Roar whiskey, which is a pretty cheap bourbon, actually. Made by with some minor corporate brand on it, not one of the major brands. One of those whiskeys that, you know, probably comes and goes or never quite disappears from the liquor store. But it's in the corner. It's not one of the top shelf fancy whiskeys.
Sure.
So it burns. At least it's got a lot of alcohol in it.
I mean, if I was to pick like a real life alcohol to go with this, I don't know if you remember that Fighting Cock bourbon, but that.
Yes.
It's like 150 proof.
Yeah.
And it just tastes like ass.
But if you want to get drunk in a hurry.
I mean, that's what it's for. It's like, if you want the highest proof thing in the store because you need to make this last as long as possible, that's what you go for.
Cool. So, let's talk about contacts. Now, there may be some that I invent and put in your gang. And there will definitely be some that you guys get to invent partially or wholly. Let's talk about contacts all at once, with everybody able to jump in, because I think that that's one place where we're not necessarily going to want you guys to cross over too much. Although it's possible. You could both be friends with some character. I feel like that should probably happen in-game, rather than these are people that you met in your past life, before going down this hard scrabble road. So maybe it was a previous hard scrabble road, but nevertheless.
Yeah. Also worth noting, on page 83, there are a bunch of sample contacts that you can use for reference points.
There are indeed. I was about to mention that, which is fine.
Okay.
There are examples, but you can feel free to... I mean, the examples are as brief as can be.
What page were they on, just so I can
83.
take a quick glance at them?
It's like Carabo, a handyman. Angel, a parole officer.
Me and Carabo go way back.
It has no further description than that, which I kind of love, actually.
I mean, just a name would be helpful.
I have many names. Austin Roberts, an environmentalist. Summer Carino, the pharmacist. Trevor Bates, the electrician, who hates celebrities. Mariah Lopez, the deputy who hates geeks. Kyle Baker, the executive, who doesn't like the status quo, but is a sucker for office politics. Leslie Scott, a self-employed personal trainer who hates get-rich-quick schemes, but loves other elaborate schemes. So I have an infinite supply over here. Have any of you any thoughts on contacts that you're starting with?
Yeah, so I've already gone ahead and made a few.
All right.
Happy to change these around and stuff as well. I just grabbed some from that example list because I liked the look of them.
Okay.
So my positive contact is Tyrell, a researcher.
Tyrell, a researcher. Just Tyrell is the only name it gives?
Tyrell is the only name it gives.
Okay.
So if you would like to add to that, feel free to. But I'm thinking it would be fun to just have somebody that I can go to if oh, hey, I don't know anything about this topic. Maybe Tyrell does. So having somebody like that would be fun. My negative contact, I only picked this because it sounded like it would make for some awesome stories. Woo Jin, an undercover cop.
Oh, that's gonna mesh really well.
Oops. I have made a tab in the characters. I have made a tab in the actually, if you're struggling, here are some inspirations.
Nice.
Where should I be looking?
At
on Roll20.
There are too many places to look.
I love these photos.
Oh, these people. Okay.
Yeah, those are awesome.
I was gonna save them for NPCs that I created, but if you are looking for inspiration, then there is some. I have created a tab in the world's creation, so you have a negative relationship with Wu Jin.
Yep.
Good to know.
He's an undercover cop.
Okay.
And then my last one is attacked. And honestly, I think the second photo from the left works really well for this. His name is Guy, and he is a spirit medium.
It's because of the hat, right?
Honestly, yes. The hat makes it work.
Awesome hat.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and I'm figuring Guy is just someone that I've met in the process of, dealing with spirits and such. We've crossed paths, and come to know each other, but we don't really have a positive or a negative relationship. It's just kind of we know about each other and occasionally do work for each other.
So it's a neutral?
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. So let's say Tyrell, more human than human. Exactly, Gribslag. From Blade Runner. Let's say let's start with Tyrell. So we're going to talk about just a little bit. We're just going to define these characters, these NPCs, slightly. So Tyrell is a researcher. Let's say... I mean, what does he research, right? I'll let you decide that. Do you have you have any thoughts?
Yeah, so my initial thought is that he would actually be a member of the guild that I created, the Circle of the Silver Star, and so he is a researcher into the various planes of existence.
Okay. What are they called again? Circle of the Silver Star?
Yes.
Or the Watchers?
No, the Circle of the Silver Star.
The Watchers are the drone ones that I made up.
Oh, you changed their name, that's right. Alright. So we'll say that Tyrell is kind of... he's kind of a dick. Tyrell is kind of a dick. He's annoyed by cute and fuzzy things. He's not a fan of Hello Kitty. And he thinks he thinks that kind of thing is dumb. And as a member of the Circle of the Silver Star, he is kind of valued partially because he has no time to waste for planes of existence that are cute. I
like it.
He only wants he loves functional. He loves things. He loves money. He loves. He loves. He's an alcoholic, and he loves his fancy. He loves his fancy alcohols.
I mean, if I loved money and then decided to become a researcher, I'd probably be an alcoholic too.
How do you know him? How did you become positive contact with Tyrell?
Yeah. So my thought process on that is that we probably found each other while we were both exploring the same plane, and we got into a bit of trouble and the two of us kind of working together got ourselves out of it. And so it's kind of like a mutual I saved his life, he saved mine kind of situation.
Oh, wow. So you met Buzz on... Are we calling them planes or dimensions?
I like planes.
Buzz on a dangerous plane of existence. Worked together to get home. Cool.
Yeah, I was probably there trying to tame dangerous spirits, and they got away from me or something.
Very cool. All right. Okay. Let me think. One other interesting thing about him, he's gay, has a boyfriend, has a high-maintenance boyfriend, and a lot of cats. No, wait, he hates cute and fuzzy things. That doesn't make sense.
A lot of lizards.
Yeah. Or like some weird pet.
Spiders.
Snakes.
Snakes are good. Just the right level of danger.
And he's always talking about how he's going to milk them for the venom, but he never gets up the nerve. He has rare snakes.
Nice.
All right.
Maybe one day he'll catch Jormungandr.
Oh, what would he do with that god if he ever found it? All right, let's talk about Wu Jin, the undercover cop, which is a negative relationship, and definitely has some interesting crossover with Badge.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm almost wanting to say maybe we take back the thing I said about no crossover of contacts, because that is particularly interesting. Potentially, it doesn't have to be.
Does Buzz know him as an undercover cop or just as a guy?
I think so.
I think that's probably why they have a negative relationship.
Yeah,
it could be anything.
So my thought process on this one is that Buzz sticking his nose in where it didn't belong screwed up a bust that Wu Jin was working. And ended up completely accidentally, because Buzz didn't even know it was the case, but completely accidentally blowing Wu Jin's cover.
Yeah.
Well, if his cover was blown, he's not an undercover cop anymore, is he?
Well, he's not an undercover cop for that group, but undercover cops do take on different jobs.
All right. Interesting.
Especially in this day and age of technological anonymity. You could become, or a police officer could become anybody.
So you know what he looks like, unless it's been altered by plastic surgery.
Yep.
It's interesting that we. I feel like 2 out of 3 of your contacts are Asian. Although any of them could be fantasy creatures, at least Guy is human.
Yeah.
Alright, so here's the thing about Wu Jin. He doesn't believe in happy endings.
Okay.
He believes that things end badly. He is a pessimist, and that makes him good at his job, but made him maybe not get along so well with Buzz all the time, or ever.
Yeah.
From the start.
Yeah. Although Buzz did definitely affirm his world.
And that's something.
I said Buzz definitely affirmed his worldview when he screwed up the bust.
Exactly. I like that. And we'll say that he's a sucker for the bad boy look. In his personal, like he you know, his idea of being undercover, and he's good at it. But he's always wearing like motorcycle jackets and spiking his hair and changing his tattoos. And maybe more extreme body modification as well. Like putting actual horns in his body.
Nice.
Put this in the wrong section. Alright, so something else interesting about him. Something else interesting about him. You know what? I think he is some kind of normally pretty heritage. Maybe...
If we want to further exacerbate this relationship, maybe she of the...
Yeah. What did you say there at the end?
Maybe he's a she of the summer.
Yeah. He's like yeah, okay.
That would also play a lot into his ability with or of being an undercover cop with, you know, their talent for glamours and illusions.
So he has naturally bright green eyes, curly red hair, fair features with freckles, and a musical voice. And pointy ears.
I like it.
Cool. Alright, let's talk about Guy, the spirit medium. So... let's see. Guy, the spirit medium. Yeah.
Yeah, for him, I see that as more of a professional relationship, where, like, you know, occasionally he and I are hired together to collaborate on things. Occasionally he and I, like, compete for jobs. Occasionally occasionally one of us will actually hire the other and work on something. And so it's just kind of like it's very professional. We've never really taken it to be a friendship or anything like that. It's just he's another person who works in the same field as me.
So you met through a previous job, and have maintained professional contact. It only makes sense, after all. He is a medium for the spirits, and you tend to summon them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I see him as kind of being more focused on internalizing the spirit and communicating on their behalf, where I'm more capable of causing them to manifest and act on their own.
He is. So Guy has a very this world is not the only world outlook. Different from Tyrell, who takes it as a very kind of pragmatic sense. But Guy is like this, he's almost distant in his attitude, and he is kind of strange. He is annoyed by gratuitous violence, but doesn't consider. He's not freaked out by it, and he kind of takes it in stride.
Okay.
When spirits go crazy, a lot of gratuitous violence happens. So he kind of makes out that he is some kind of badass, but you have caught him. You have caught him watching shitty romantic comedies.
Someone's got a guilty pleasure.
Yeah. Because he works with the street. He is not a corporate spirit medium, for the most part. He doesn't give CEOs advice. He is a down and dirty spirit medium.
I like it.
I'm going to add the word street to him, because that's what that means. Something else interesting about him. Even though he's been caught, despite his secret film preferences, he has never been spotted with a significant other. All right. Okay. Cool. I'm glad we took the time to do that, because I think these characters are coming alive.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on context? Matt or Kate, feel free to jump in here.
So I linked a picture in our Discord
Got it.
that I was considering saying that was my guy's essentially guild supervisor. I don't know what rank that would be within the guild necessarily, or what, but someone still with the still on the inside, who is sort of directly pissed off by my character having left the guild, and possibly it reflected badly on them that I had ever been there if I then chose to leave. So there would be a negative, obviously. But I'm kind of, we have a lot of dudes, and so I was wondering if maybe I should find a lady that had a similar kind of look.
Well, this one is
imposing, and
this is cool for now.
Yeah. So but that's the idea. Is someone in that role, with a kind of an authoritarian kind of figure.
You can always have a lady for a different contact.
Well, yeah. So that was one contact idea. The other would be a member of that Watchers faction that I had made up, because I feel like my character would have some affiliation with them, or they would be following him around, quite frankly.
She should be like a hyper enthusiastic 15-year-old girl.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was looking for a picture that would be that.
she's like whatever the equivalent is of Girl Scouts in this thing.
Yep.
Just trying to catch them all.
Oh, 100%. Like, yeah, I already had like a Pokemon vibe to that faction, so definitely.
100%.
I just couldn't find a picture.
Well,
but you can look at my sheet. It literally says "little girl."
Amazing.
Okay. Well, we don't have to have a picture right now.
I like having pictures. I think it helps solidify.
Well, I've only spent a lot of hours on that.
Yeah,
most
I know.
Of these
me too.
Most of these are free from the internet.
Yeah, I've been trawling Pinterest for art, so.
Okay, but for this guy.
For the first one,
yeah.
who I tentatively named Ezekiel, but I could be convinced to use another name.
I love it. Spelled Ezekiail.
Kyle, like Kyle.
All right. Ezekiel. All these people have one name. They're all, what is it, mononyms?
Yeah. I mean, he might have a last name. It's not like I would necessarily have known it. I mean, we could also name him, like, Mr. So-and-so and not have him have a first name. But he definitely can't have both.
I'm not sure if the file name is the artist's name or the character's name. But it could be Pasternak.
Yeah, that is the artist's name, is Ihor Pasternak.
Oh,
I found it on his art station. Yeah, the link I gave is to his actual art station.
Ash's Darrow. Was the,
that's
okay.
I don't know what that is from. I think it's concept art for a game, I think.
Oh, okay.
But the link I gave is to this guy's actual. He's actually a concept artist at Riot. Interesting.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he had a bunch of really cool art, so.
Very nice.
Oh.
My brother is on there, by the way.
What, ArtStation?
Yeah. I just found
this out. Send us a link and we can start doing commissions.
I don't know if he does commissions. Maybe he does, actually.
I have some vague descriptions of characters that I can't find pictures for.
You know what? I'm gonna get in contact with him. It's Pace. Formerly Pace Porters Asada, now Pace Wilder. All right.
Oh wow, this is good art.
You're like, well, I assumed if it was your brother that it couldn't.
Well,
be
I
good.
mean, it was kind of just like oh hey, my brother's on here. Like, oh wow.
No, he's really good. He is
wow.
Like really surprisingly good. So
he worked at DreamWorks for a while.
Yeah, I see that on here. Yeah, nice. Yeah, no. If
both my brothers,
I definitely have some vague ideas that this guy could draw.
I'll get in contact with him. So Ezekiel is a kind of an important person in the Mechanics Guild, right?
So I don't think it's the Mechanics Guild. What I've written down for the moment is the Guild of Electronic Technicians, but I can't come up with a pithy way of saying that. We could say it's the Mechanics Guild, and it has like sub-sections, I guess.
The Spark Guild.
Yeah, something like that. That's great.
Alright, let's put them under faction. Actually, would you list them under factions, please?
Sure.
Just get rid of all the extra names I have saved there. Or put it below them. I don't know. I don't care.
I'll put it below, it's fine.
The Spark Guild. So he's an administrator. So he's like, he works for the guild. He doesn't do like electronics jobs.
Well,
and
I don't know. We haven't really defined how the guilds work. Whether they have sort of a management track or not. I was picturing it as like a actual like the historical guilds where it would be like a journeyman master kind of thing,
yes,
right?
But in historical guilds, they would be basically they would all have their own business, but they would kind of unify under the banner of the guild, right? So there'd be a bunch of different cobblers, let's say, all making shoes for themselves, but then they would kind of like to ensure quality, supposedly, but really to kind of be a political force. They would kind of unify together and you know, organize membership and such, but and that's how it works in our world as well, because there are different corporations, different companies, you know, that all have people who are part of these guilds. Now, the guilds, however, because they are big and powerful, they also have to have their own, you know, structure to them. And so Ezekiel works directly for the guild. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
He can be a brilliant electrician himself.
Yeah, I feel like he kind of there's sort of a professional pride that would come with that.
Exactly.
Like I feel like the guilds wouldn't really want anyone who wasn't having those technical chops like in any position of authority, you know.
Okay. So, how did you meet Ezekiel?
Oh, I don't
know. Well, I guess through maybe training. You said this is a negative relationship, right?
Yes, this was someone who either had vouched for me to get me into the guild, which I then threw in their face, or you know, basically left them short-handed at best. Certainly, it was a like leaving the guild is not a thing that people do, right? So it would have some sort of loss of face, essentially. I think he may just be personally insulted that I would have done this.
So we need a name for your character because it's starting to.
So I made a name. I don't have a alias yet that I like.
How about the Shell?
Name okay.
Do you like that, or do you just?
It's a perfectly fine placeholder for now. I had put Scrap as the placeholder, but Shell is just as good, if not better.
I was thinking like Ghost in the Shell reference.
Sure. No, I got the conceptual reference.
Okay.
I've given him a name, which is based on a alias that I thought I might take, but I decided it would be too annoying to say, which is kludge, as in to kind of hack something together.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy who originally coined that term was named Jackson Granholm, so I've called him Jack Granholm.
Nice.
So
I like that.
Jack Shell Granholm.
There you go.
I would say Ghost, but maybe that's too much from the previous campaign.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm still I'm happy to use Shell for now, but I might think if I think of a better one, I'll switch it out.
Okay.
Something that gets at the tendency to sort of hack things together would be ideal.
Okay.
Because I feel like he earned this while he was still with the guild. Like,
Rig.
He was just barely skirting the line of, like, fixing things the way he was supposed to, and he was getting a little too, like, interpretive with problems.
Alright, so you just met through, the Spark Guild.
Mm-hmm.
But really pissed him off when Shell left the guild.
Yep. I do like that probably he actually lost favor or something. Like having...
Well, sure. I mean, it's his job to keep running the guild.
Exactly.
That's literally
there's a little
job.
more than just pissed him off. Like, definitely dealt him some kind of social
They call
damage.
him an administrator, but the goal of the guild is to gather more and more people into it and control them.
Yep.
So,
like there's an element of like recruiter and like chief culture officer, so to speak.
He looks like that kind of asshole. Okay.
Yeah, I picked that image because he really looks like an asshole.
Excellent. Let's see. What else about him? He's a racist.
Yeah, he is. I mean, look at that picture.
He hates, basically he hates the downtrodden already.
Yeah.
But, he hates, non-white humans, unseelie, demonic folk, and the non-gilded.
Yeah. So he already probably hated Shell.
Yep.
It didn't help that Shell left, certainly, but he probably already hated him.
You got to know him well enough that, despite his appearance, or actually, he likes to look cool. And
we kind of have
two
guys now that like to look cool.
No, not like a bad boy necessarily. He's a pop culture expert. He has pop culture Tourette's.
Now we have to start defining what pop culture looks like in this setting.
Oh, believe me, that won't be hard. He knows endless amounts of obscure trivia. And, enjoys, competing with people, to prove his intellectual superiority through pop culture references, or through the complexity of his references.
So he's basically a 4chaner. He's like this...
He's got a bit of that, for sure.
Pop culture obsessed / racist.
He also has a killer pair of cyber arms. And I mean that literally. Yeah, he's got more than a bit of 4chan about him. What else? What's one interesting thing about him? One more interesting thing about him. Thick, terrible accent that sounds fake. It's not always easy to understand. It's not always easy to understand him. Sound good? Still there? I can't hear you, Matt.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
How long have I been talking and no one's been hearing me? That's fine.
I don't know.
Stupid button.
I didn't hear you and I clicked over and you were green.
Yep. I've been muted for I don't know how long. So anyway, yeah, sounds good.
Okay, excellent. Excellent.
I was saying we should give him some sort of secretly good thing to balance out all of the he's kind of one-dimensional jerk right now. You know, future racist Nazi guy.
That's true.
It might be fun if he like secretly volunteers at a soup kitchen or something.
He really loves his dog.
Yeah, something. I like the accent, but I feel like he should also have some sort of...
No. I'm totally on the same page. How about oddly enough, has a hidden soft spot for acts of kindness. Like when somebody's kind to him, or to, or he sees someone being kind. He's sympathetic to that. Like somebody, like if he sees somebody, he doesn't volunteer at a soup kitchen himself, but he respects those who do.
Yeah.
All right, that guy's a pretty interesting contact. Let's go for another one. Do you have another idea?
So the next thing I had written down was little girl, member of the Watchers faction.
How about Ellen Young?
Sure. But this would be, this was the Pokemon Gotta Catch 'Em All kind of manic young girl that we were describing earlier.
Okay. Little girl, member of the... Now is it 4TCH...
Yeah, I had to copy and paste it out of the sheet.
RZ?
I don't think it was a Z, but we could be. I mean, they probably all spell it differently. It's more of an idea than it is.
I dislike your use of capitals.
I did it intentionally annoying.
Let's make it all capitals.
That's fine. You could even just write it normal English word, and we would just know that when they write it, it's full of numbers.
And it's a Z, not an S.
Of course it is.
Okay, so she's a positive contact.
Yes, she either has brought me broken drones and had me fix them, or otherwise, like, she sort of treats me like the way, somebody who was into bird watching might treat, like, a park ranger or something, or a dog trainer or any, there's sort of a positive association just from a shared interest, but also, like, an element of respect.
So met through the the Watchers chat, like online.
I like the idea that maybe she had a favorite drone that she would follow and watch, and then like it broke down or something, and she brought it to Shell, or found out through her contacts that there was this guy who might be able to fix it.
I like that. So you met through the Watchers. She had a favorite drone she would follow. Shell fixed it for her.
Yeah.
And it's like somebody else's drone. It's like
it's like some Amazon shipping drone.
Off.
Yeah,
yeah, it just flew off. But it did continue to do its thing. By the way, yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean,
Grimslag says he likes Klooge, your name.
Yeah.
But it's spelled Clooj, right?
No, I mean it's. I don't want that to be the literal alias. I just want that to be. Okay. It's an inspiration word that I was trying to find a similar word, but not the exact thing. It'd be too on the nose.
Anyway, I interrupted you. What were you saying?
No, I was gonna say it's like if like say like a bird watcher like found an injured bird and they brought it to a vet. Mm-hmm. It's the same kind of interaction. Like they would of course set it free. It deserves to be free, obviously. And by free, I mean delivering packages.
Cool. Okay, I like that. Let's see. Let's add a little bit more to Ellen.
I really like the idea that your character feels like he's living in... Definitely.
He's living in what? Sorry, you cut out. I don't know.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of the machines are animals, except they really aren't.
Yeah, he's even crazier than Horizon Zero Dawn. There's just something beautiful about the thousands of shipping drones flying across the night sky.
So let's say Ellen is let's say she hates dressing up. She hates dressing up for a nice occasion. She doesn't like to wear nice clothes.
I mean, I'm picturing all of the members of that faction as being orphans. So
she hates dresses.
I mean, that's my mental image of them, I'm saying. So this is perfectly in line with what I was picturing anyway.
Your character assumed she was an orphan until he found out that she actually has a whole family. They just don't pay much attention to her.
Maybe she's actually really well off.
Well, she certainly has occasion to be forced to wear a dress occasionally. Hates dresses or formality or anything. I mean, she has that single-minded focus that children can have. Yep. Well, how little are you thinking she is? Because I'm picturing her like she's 14, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, she has to be old enough to kind of go out into the world and not immediately die.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I think she's just got enough. Needs to have enough like naivete about her that she's not burned out like the rest of the people in the setting.
She's definitely not. So she loves her family.
Yeah.
They just don't pay much attention to her. Loves her huge family with though they don't pay much attention to her. She has sisters, brothers, cousins, parents. Don't we all? All of whom she treasures dearly. even though they don't understand her hobby.
Her hobby where she goes out and looks at drones and follows them around.
Mm-hmm.
And talks to weirdos online. And the hobos under the bridge.
Exactly. One more interesting thing about her. She's religious.
Oh, that's good. We really haven't had much of that.
No.
Despite it being a huge
her family
thing for our world.
Is deep into the Kate, what's a good Roman cult?
The Vestal cult.
Deep into the Vestal cult. And has extensive holidays and shrine traditions. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, one more, I believe. Yes.
So I was thinking about this one, just based on the way. Remember, Blades would be like a demon or whatever, and we just had no idea what the hell. Could he have a neutral contact that is literally like the bus?
The bus?
or like some kind of just some machine that is not even really a person, but he has like a relationship with it.
The only issue with that is our interesting use of AI.
That's true. Actually, I was wondering about that. Like,
so it could be
what would a self-driving car even like?
It could be a bus that has the spirit of a dog in it.
Yes.
Or a cat.
Dog bus.
Oh my god.
It could be
like a terrible bus.
No, it's a reference to the 8-legged cat bus from
Totoro, right?
Totoro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but also a cat would make a terrible bus driver.
Exactly.
Yep.
I think that's what I love about
it. A cat
it.
is not a good bus driver in Totoro.
Picture it's a bus that instead of being like a normal bus, it like roams the Undercity like a cat would. But it's a bus.
Cat bus. This is happening. This is happening right now.
And he's only neutral with it. Like, he's not friends.
They're just... are you ever with a cat?
They have an understanding. and a bus. Neither of which are things you can really be friends with.
And it's called Cat Bus. And it is a bus with the spirit of a house cat.
Nobody knows why. It's just down there.
In it. Yeah, I'm liking this a lot.
One of us had to come up with the really weird contacts, right?
I think they're all pretty weird so far.
Dredge knew a demon.
I actually love the summer court she who's like messes up his perfect features.
Oh yeah. There's a lot going on there.
There is a lot going on there.
That guy's got some issues.
Okay, so the cat bus. No, not the cat bus, just Cat Bus is its name.
I'm picturing it was maybe it was like some weird like mad scientist type guy like just made it and left it like somewhere, or it gained some independence that it shouldn't have had. Maybe
it hates idiots who are out in the middle of the road.
Mm-mm.
Loathes children.
Terrified of street sweepers.
And innocent people. No, not innocent people. Naive people. Terrified of street sweepers. I love that.
Yeah.
Of street sweepers, which rarely function on the lowest level of the sprawling city anyway.
That's probably why it lives down there.
Of course.
Probably why. I mean, it is like it's an actual licensed bus. Like it's a real bus.
Yeah, like there's a route that it is supposed to drive.
It's an automatic. It's an automatic bus. It's a self-driving bus. And
for some reason somebody tried to use a cat for it. I don't know why. They probably should have picked a dog, but here we are.
Ooh, Grimslag has a good pun name for it. The bus with a double S. We'll say that as an alternate. Like, like puss.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so how did you meet the cat bus? How, like, get to know it, as opposed to...
Well, it's really like, how did we sort of establish this neutral relationship? Like, again, like, I the thing that inspired this was the earlier discussion about, like, buffalo. So, like, the same way, like, someone out in the woods might, like, encounter a large animal and just kind of be neutral with it and, like, each go their separate ways, like, is kind of what I was picturing, but maybe that's not a significant enough relationship.
So, okay, how about this? Despite the irregular, confusing route...
yeah, sometimes it just stops for no reason and sits there all day.
Cat bus.
And then it goes 100 miles an hour in some other random direction.
For about a couple of months, during Shell's tenure as a member of the Spark Guild, he kept somehow running into the cat bus, or no, I keep calling it the cat bus, into cat bus. So you would probably hate that. Into cat bus on following the street to his next job. It got used to him.
Yeah. And maybe its existence has something to do with his newfound outlook on things, maybe.
That is like, up to you.
How do you meet a cat bus and not rethink some things?
Alright. Got inspired for that one. That's the longest one so far. Okay, something else interesting.
Happy to have come up with this insane idea.
Something else interesting about cat bus. Oh wait, of course it loves fish. Hang on.
Yeah, how far can we take the analogy?
Loves
not
fish.
Be found hanging out in the sewers.
Yeah.
Yep. Fish trash hangs out in the sewers. Oh wait. It's a lustful Tom. It's a lustful Tom. Tomcat.
Which would mean it makes incredibly loud noises sometimes.
Exactly, it howls. It does the cat yowling. Be found
but
yowling,
it's like a
horn. Yowling its romantic feelings away in the sewers. On top.
Why does the bus route go through the sewers?
It doesn't. Of dead fish. Alright. I like that contact. I like that contact a lot.
So I like all I had written on the character sheet was literally a bus. And we grew it into so much more.
Indeed. Indeed.
The setting is so weird.
It is very unique to us, and I like that. Yeah. It is not Shadowrun. It is our own weird thing. Badge, do you have any thoughts on contacts?
Yes, I do. And I also kind of went with the suggested ones because there were a few seemed to really match.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so I too have a good, a bad, and a neutral contact, like you do. So my good contact is Brig, an occult investigator.
Okay. So, okay. So do you think, what does occult investigator mean to you? Is it like a ghost hunter? Is it like, is it like somebody who searches out new forms of paranormal activity in life? Is it something to do with the source?
So my idea was that this person is a police psychic.
Okay.
And this is somebody perhaps like a literal ghost talker because, of course, in this reality, psychics are pretty inarguably legitimate. And so this is somebody who's like a spirit talker who gets summoned to like crime scenes. But maybe that's too similar to what we already have. So maybe I should think of something else.
Who is he similar to? Or she?
Sombrero Man? Wasn't Sombrero Man?
Well, he's a street spirit medium. So also a spirit medium, but a police psychic is very, very different from somebody who works the streets.
So anyway, I guess this will be...
This is a positive contact?
Yeah, and this will be a male because my other two are female.
Okay.
So, anyway, so he's like an independent investigator. He does take on private jobs, but he's frequently hired by the police as like an outside contractor.
Okay.
Because I'd imagine that he wouldn't be in the police guild. He would be in like some kind of a spiritual professions guild. I don't really know what that would be, but so he's a separate person, but he would get called to crime scenes, and he and Badge have a good relationship. They work together on a number of crimes, and he would kind of give information that wouldn't necessarily be like actionable from a police perspective, like can't actually assemble enough evidence for a case, or things like that. He doesn't exactly condone Badge's new lifestyle, but he and she were often on the same page in terms of, well, we know that this person did it, so why can't we just throw the book at them on something? And that same type of frustration of, the disconnect between, even when police officers are doing like good on, the disconnect between what is known to be true and what can actually be the basis of a police case. And that's leaving aside issues like corrupt policing or insufficient policing, which is obviously also a pretty huge problem in this world. So.
Okay. So I have worked with Badge, was often on the same page about frustration with the justice system, doesn't love her new lifestyle, but remains understanding of it.
Sounds right.
All right. Cool. What about... Okay, cool. Very cool. Let's see. Let's see here. Okay, so he is a member of the Ghost Talkers Guild. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
And he's a frequent police contractor, and in general an occult investigator. He refers to himself as an occult investigator as opposed to a spirit medium. So the terminology here is important. So he hates unlicensed ghost geeks. Loathes the idea of an amateur bothering the spirits of the dead. He just hates, like, he hates ghost geeks. Does that make sense?
Yeah, people who are, like, super into ghosts, but didn't actually learn anything.
Excellent. What does he like? He, likes a job well done and a steady, fat paycheck. Brig likes money.
I'm sensing a theme with all the gilded people here.
Probably. I know the system works really, really hard to, like, make money not a thing, and I don't understand that. Because to me, that is, like, a huge part of cyberpunk.
I mean, it's our world. We can do whatever we want.
Absolutely. He likes money and diligence. Definitely diligence. Alright, one other interesting thing about him. Loves modern art. How about that?
Sure.
Modern, like it's modern art from our time period, which is now probably classical art in the future, or...
Well, you have me there.
Modernist art.
Modernist art. Yeah, we're now into the post modern.
Yep.
Do you have
probably wrapped around again?
Do you have another contact? I think. Do you like how Brig is?
Yeah.
All right. How about another contact?
All right. My negative contact is Yvonne, and she is a judge.
Oh boy. All right. Of the Judges Guild.
Yes, I guess so. If that's a thing, and so she and I butted heads on more than one case, where again, like, the idealistic commitment to justice versus what the law actually allows for. I would really like to believe that she's a corrupt judge. I don't think that I ever had any actual evidence of that. And certainly, whenever I would bring it up to people, they would strongly disbelieve that. But I've always had this sneaking suspicion because she just always seems to be on the opposite side from me in every single case that I would bring in front of her. Even when we were nominally on the same side, she was still just, like, super antagonistic. So we don't run into each other as often anymore, but we still fucking hate each other. And I will gladly go on for hours about how terrible she is to people who have like never even heard of her.
Got it. She is your negative. I wrote Dadge instead of Badge. That's what they give you when you have your first kid.
Excellent.
How about she doesn't care for she doesn't care to be liked.
All right.
Annoyed by the adoration of people seeking justice, or annoyed by the adoration of brown-nosing lawyers.
All right.
But she is a sucker for political discussions. Enjoys talking politics, as though she were a major player in the political scene, which she is not. Sound good?
Yep.
Alright, one other interesting thing about her.
Are you asking me or are you thinking?
I'm thinking.
All right, cool.
She has a dog. Name the dog.
Mimi.
Named Mimi. Who is a total sweetheart. The cutest, fluffiest, poofiest, silliest floof that ever walked on four legs. Cool.
Sounds good.
All right, good. Do you have a neutral contact?
I do. Kerenza. It's Kerenza is a reporter.
Cool. Interesting. Does this reporter work for the Drone, Daily Robotic Overlord News?
Is that the major newspaper?
There are many news sources. This is the feed.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. Yeah, sure. So I didn't really think a whole lot about that, but basically,
this is a faction that I created that's in the Factions tab.
Got it. Okay. So basically, the relationship I have with her is that she's a police reporter for, some publication. And she, she covered a lot of my cases, and we got on fairly well. I had, I guess police don't necessarily always have a super friendly relationship with the press, but like we knew each other and we liked each other fine. And it turned out that she actually was the reporter who covered the story when I got kicked out of the police force. And so
was she kind to you?
That what's that?
Was she kind to you in the story?
She was, surprisingly. More so than you would expect. And she even took the time to, like, do an interview with me, which wasn't able to be printed in its entirety. But over the course of some conversations with that, she came to kind of, like, see my side of things and sort of changed her reporting style to not necessarily be more critical of the police, but perhaps be a little bit more interested in, like, cases that were being overlooked and bringing attention to them. And so we're still in touch. I'm not sure that she's, like, fully aware. Perhaps she's deliberately unaware of certain aspects of what I do now. But, you know, we're still on good terms, and we've been known to, like, meet up for coffee and stuff.
Okay. But you know that if she found out anything untoward about you, that she would not hesitate to print it.
Yeah, she probably would print pretty much anything. I mean, I guess I might persuade her to go easy on me in, like, some cases, but I wouldn't.
So, the Daily Robotic Overlord News, or Drone, is, they're kind of known for their catchphrase, definitely not just a robot mouthpiece. They're known for their light tone with an edge of cynicism. Sometimes they actually publish real news. Maybe she's one of those people. Very aggressive use of semi-legal spy tech to gather story material. So they're kind of a hip news source. They have a lot of kind of tongue-in-cheek, snappy stories mixed
like
in
evil
with
BuzzFeed.
Kind of like evil BuzzFeed, mixed in with real news. So do you think she works for them?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Alright, so she covers, like, police news.
Yeah.
That's kind of her general area. Alright, let's come up with some other interesting things about her. So she was surprisingly kind to you. The interview wasn't printed in its entirety, but she got interested in overlooked cases. But not out of a desire to uncover the truth. She hates honesty. She's annoyed by honesty. She doesn't think it's real. She's annoyed by people who claim to be totally honest.
Wow, okay.
Remember, this is a neutral relationship.
Yeah.
She's not looking for honesty, she's looking for a good story.
Yeah. Everyone has an angle and is more interested in a good story than the absolute unvarnished truth. And that's what makes her a good reporter for Drone. Sound good?
Sure.
So she is a police reporter but she's a sucker for... She's a huge sports fan. And would love to break into sportscasting, but feels pigeonholed as a police reporter. So is content with being a super fan of a number of teams. You know, different sports. Cyberball. Mage ball. Something else interesting about her. She's gay. Or lesbian. But so lazy about maintaining her relationships that she never has a girlfriend for long. Sound interesting?
For sure.
Cool. All right. So we now have 9 characters, 9 contacts ready-made in our world. Well done, guys. I'm pretty happy. I think that they're all pretty interesting characters.
Yeah, these are really cool characters. I'm excited.
And we know so much more about them than we did last time we made. Choices.
That is true. That is true. We've gotten better. So... I'm just putting in the thing at the top so I can find the information later. All right. Just trying to finish up the formatting here. 1 second. I can never remember where the thing is. Freeze. There we go. All right. Now that's set up. Cool. So... we know about your guys' characters. And we know about the Rat's Nest. Are any of these people... I feel like none of these... Like, all of these contacts are outside your neighborhood. Or if they live in your neighborhood, they aren't... Like, they've never been to the Rat's Nest.
I would agree with that statement for mine.
Ellen might have come by the Rat's Nest. Conceivably.
She was probably horrified by the living situation. Because she comes, from the equivalent of a middle-class family.
Right, but she's also got weird rebellious streak there, so who knows?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We didn't have to dress fancy down there. That's for sure.
Maybe she was shocked by the state of your shrine before Buzz came along.
Could be. That would make sense. I don't think. Certainly, my guy was not maintaining it.
Something to think about. How about you, Kate? Has any of your characters ever come by the rat's nest?
I really wouldn't think so. Like,
Probably
I
not.
think that my character's been kind of a loner since she left the police force. And most of these contacts are from that period of her.
They are. For some reason, I feel like Badge is the most recent person, the most recent addition. Like, I don't know why, I can't explain it, but I feel like Shell was here, kind of found this place first, and then Buzz, and then Badge. But I can't really explain that, and maybe you guys will decide differently.
I mean, in terms of connection to this physical space, I feel like that might be the right order.
Yeah.
It's possible that the larger group came to this space at a different, in a different order, not necessarily like, they could have been members of the group before Shell, but the group was in a different place then.
I like it. So... I know that some of you are still filling things out in your character sheets, but go ahead, Matt.
So, alias-wise, I'm really leaning towards Patch, because it has some stupid, programming reference, but it also has, like, more of a feel for the character in terms of, like, fixing things. So I'm gonna go with that, I think.
And also has kind of a hobo-y sound, which is
and like, Patch, what is it? Patch Adams was a doctor, so like it all works. Definitely came at it from the, source control code perspective though, when I came up with it.
Yep, I'm just replacing the word shell with the very bad find and replace function in Google Sheets. But I think I got it. Alright. Patch it is. So, guys, I know that some of you are still filling things out in your character sheet, but that's okay. Should we take a short break? And when we come back, we will, I think, be ready to start play.
Sounds good.
Fill in as we go. Alright, folks, we're going to take a 5-minute break as soon as I figure out how to edit this text. And we'll be right back for more cyberpunk action in the sprawling city. See you in a minute, folks. I'm back.
I'm here as well.
Yeah.
Hey.
All right. We're all back. So you guys ready to play?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I'm still deciding whether I like this look for our, base of operations image. So I may change that later. I don't know. I had that cool table set up in the last game.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, just get a future table.
Well, that doesn't look as cool. Although I could do something abstract like that. I thought it was kind of neat, like the concept of like walking through the streets and there's like text windows popping up.
Mm-hmm.
I made those little boxes myself, by the way. Just why they don't look all that amazing, but
that's fine.
I think they work, and that's the goal. So, bye, Grim. Probably already left. So, you guys sit in the rat's nest. All around you, weird sounds come along the cables. Wind blowing by, the distant sound of traffic vibrating on the metal cables that all tangle together into this giant ball that forms your home, your hideout. And even when you're playing music or something else is going on, there's this kind of background sound that occurs from the cables, kind of just picking up vibrations from the city. You've introduced yourselves to one another. And there are a number of jobs coming your way. Have you guys come up with a name for the team yet?
I don't think so.
I thought somebody in Twitch had come up with a good one that we were, like, toying with the idea of keeping.
The Chocolate Badgers.
I don't think that was it, but, whatever.
No, what I've got for right now is the Factual Information Reconnaissance Militia.
Yeah, that's the one
FIRM
for
short.
Or the firm.
Yes.
Yeah, because I liked that it was a militia. It had the right level of, like, bunch of weirdos banding together.
Yeah, we're renegades. We play by our own rules.
I see. What is it again? The
Factual
Information Reconnaissance Militia.
I mean, it probably varies from week to week, depending on which zine printing we're making.
Right.
Yeah. If we want something a little simpler, we could also go with something like Answers Incorporated.
I don't know, man. Incorporation is like the tool of the man.
Could be Answers LLLP.
The firm.
Liability Limited Partnership.
Firm it is. So, and there's a number of jobs that are currently have been offered up by your contacts. And it's up to you guys to decide what to pursue as the inaugural mission. Are they called missions in this game or scores?
Operations.
The inaugural,
that's good.
The inaugural operation of the firm.
I forget, like, are we pretending that, like, we just formed the group, or that, like, it's been a thing for a while?
I guess that's up to you.
I had the vague impression that it had been a thing for a while. But
so it's been a thing for a while, but you've only just kind of decided that this is really what you're gonna, like, spend your time doing.
Yeah, we've spent time talking about this kind of thing, but I think this is our first actual job. Like,
okay.
This is us solidifying that, like, yes, this is actually something we're doing, and it's more than just us talking about it.
Like, maybe you've known each other for years, if you want. That's up to you. I'm just saying, like, there isn't, like, a huge amount of... Like, people don't have, like, a strong opinion on the firm as of yet. They might have a strong opinion of you.
Sure.
Because you have a history. But the firm does not have...
But are we, I wasn't sure if we were, like, the founding members, or if we were just, like, the current set of especially active members, you know?
I think we're the founding members.
If you're not the founding members, then it's been inactive for a long time. Like, somebody in the neighborhood was carrying the torch, but you know, not really.
If we want to be the founding members, that's fine. I just
okay.
I was the way that Rare Imports kind of died when we died. It'd be nice if this one was a little more durable.
Well, you are here in the Rat's Nest, surrounded by people who are kind of your friends. So I am... I still haven't read all 300 pages of the rulebook, but I believe it doesn't really have the turf claim thing for you to kind of build out your influence in a neighborhood.
Right.
So I'm going to create something like that. And
well, I think that's been replaced by the neighborhood traits through the safe house.
Exactly. So there are a number of other people who also scavenge in the crumbled factory, the deserted factory building complex, just nearby, just at one end of the bridge. And, you know, they know of you guys and respect you to a certain degree. And as you guys you can level up the neighborhood and, you know, add people to it. And we'll kind of add characters to represent those upgrades.
Gotcha.
Cool.
So, now that we've established all those things, what do you guys want to do? It's session 1. You have on a data pad on whatever makeshift table lies before you. Maybe I'll switch out this image for a futuristic table thing.
Well, there's no... we wouldn't need a data pad, right? It's all AR? It would just be, like, projected in space?
A hologram of a data pad that is a shared file, shared 3D file between all of you, hovers in the middle of the table containing the 3 different jobs. You all have your refreshments. The volcanic fizz, the crimson volcano, the last roar whiskey, and what was the name of
the dog piss beer? Yeah.
Yes, the flaming dog piss beer. And there's some like pizza around that was probably delivered by drone, and various other things kind of lying about that are just kind of stuff that ends up in a hideout. And a stick of incense is burning in the small shrine to one side, lending a pleasant smell to the room. So, what would you guys like to do?
So you said 3 jobs at some point. Do you actually have 3 jobs, or are we just like going to make something up?
I do, but you could also pursue something that has not been offered to you.
I am totally fine following some breadcrumbs that you have already left for this first mission thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So each of you please roll a d10.
Awesome.
All right, I'm going to do these in reverse order that they appeared in the chat. Or that your names appeared in the chat. Patch. Is it Patches or Patch?
I was saying Patch.
Patch. Shortly after you kind of got word out to the people you know, put it on your social media profile on the feed, that the firm was a thing. What did you roll?
I got a 6.
6. Just a second. Catbus sent you a message.
Of course it did. I mean, it probably does that all the time. It just leaves stuff,
Uh-huh. And you're never entirely...
A dead bird.
It does communicate strangely. It communicates via lolcat speak. So you pull up the message, and it kind of grows big on your guys' AR table, or maybe the table is real, but the data pad is augmented reality that you can all see via implant projected onto your eye. And it exactly says, "ICANN has facts?" ? It reads, has investigation into Prujkow.
What was that last word?
Which is it kind of Prujkow in your what's your augmented reality feed come to you by? What's your where does the feed come to you through? Do you have like glasses?
I thought we all had like weird ear implants.
Sure. Or
I thought that was the deal.
It doesn't have to be that. It could be something else, but that's the normal thing. So
I definitely didn't hear that spelling. I definitely heard push cow.
You it automatically searches this for you. It pops up a button that you can tap in your AR display to search this word.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Okay. So another window opens up that is only visible to you, unless you decide to make it visible to the other two. It says this is a Polish name.
Yeah, I mean, I'll
make it visible, I guess. The rest of the message reads... give looking into's cycle gang want housing block. And there is a series of images taken from headlight level.
Of course.
Bus.
The pictures that seemed like they were taken by a bus. Got it?
Kind of blurry. Of this kind of large apartment complex with a bunch of gang signs spray painted along the walls.
Like is it always the same building or the same graffiti or?
Yeah. Okay. It looks like a there's some words, some nasty words. Fuck bitches, get money. And a lot of go, go, go in increasing letter size.
I see.
Yeah, as well as some words in a language you don't understand, but which you can tap to have translated as Polish words that are also dirty. And the images continue to show a more around the housing block. And kind of giving you an idea of where it is. Or certainly enough data to search it and find it.
Okay.
And the final image is of a worried-looking old man, kind of unshaven, with scraggly white hairs sticking out of his chin. Looks like he's staring into the headlights of a bus. And with a kind of freaked out expression, is holding up 2 plastic bags.
Mm-hmm.
One has a number of cred sticks with credits on them, you're assuming.
Okay.
And the other bag has some pistols in a Ziploc bag.
Huh.
And there's one last message that says, hang on. It has his name, which I will give to you in a moment. And it says, give reward, with a lot of exclamation points. In that last photo, there's also, you can kind of see off to one side, a large pile of, like, fish scraps.
Okay.
Overflowing a garbage can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That is, quite a gift from that bus.
Alright. So that is one of the jobs that has swiftly come in. Do you guys want to discuss it, or should I describe another one?
Do they just all like receive messages at once, or is this over the course of?
Oh no, this is over the course of the past month. You guys had some things you needed to take care of, but you're now sitting in whatever meeting room. Maybe you're hanging in cable wire hammocks.
Yeah.
And hanging out, and you're finally all able to be in the same place. And talk over the things that have been coming in. So you can decide which one to pursue. And there's the guy's name is in the caption of the last image.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to know about the other jobs. Discussing them.
So you look over that weirdness from.
You don't want to get mixed up with something that a cat bus thought was important and will give us dead fish for? Come on.
Well, I think it's pretty clear that the reward is in the plastic. The offered reward is in the plastic bags.
Cash and guns, or a bunch of dead fish.
And a cheeseburger. And a cheeseburger. Okay. Not necessarily super interested in that. Buzz kind of taps the AR image of a data pad showing the job that came in from one of his contacts. Specifically, Tyrell. Tyrell says that he hears you're starting this interesting little outfit and wonders if you would be interested in planting some data on then to embarrass a non-gilded planar explorer who's very wealthy and is sticking his nose, I'm speaking as Tyrell here, sticking his nose into business where it doesn't belong. And he wants you to plant some data that can then be exposed and embarrass this guy. He calls him he calls him a rich Russian fuck. All right. You go ahead.
This job looks a lot more interesting than the other one. Wait a second. Soda. Oh, there it is. Yes. Yes. Anyways, this job looks much more interesting than the one from the bus cat.
But the bus cat sent a message. Doesn't that mean anything? Like, it's a bus with the mind of a cat, and it thought this was important. It's fascinating.
I'm not particularly interested in what normal living cats think, or let alone what cats that are turned into buses think is important.
What about what buses think?
Buses don't think.
Well, this one does.
Like a cat, like a dead cat. I don't think that's very interesting.
I'm not sure planting evidence is what we want the firm to be about.
Badge, if you are quietly pulling up, are you quietly pulling up yours while they are having this discussion?
Is she even there? I think she had to go.
Oh, did she have to go? Oh, BRB baby time. Sorry, continue as you were.
So the big argument is is planting evidence in our wheelhouse, and do buses think?
I will say, I think your thinking machines are very strong. It seems sort of like if a corpse just got up and started talking and acting like everything was fine. It feels very, very odd to me.
Well, if a corpse sent you these messages, wouldn't you want to know more?
Absolutely not. I would want to get rid of the corpse and make it stop thinking.
Oh, but it's such an interesting thing that it's a thinking bus. Don't you think the world is richer for it existing?
I think the world would have been more rich for the spirits of earth and metal that went into the making of the machine, and for the life of the cat that currently is thinking of it, or thinking for it.
Oh, but that cat would have been dead ages ago. Now it lives forever in a bus.
But it
what
could have made more
strange
cats.
Experiences. This argument goes on for days.
Are there any like, it won't cost you anything, but are there any like quick searches or things you guys want to look into in either mission that you would like to find out a little more information?
You said Pershkow came up with like it just being a Polish name. Is that what you were saying before? And that, like, no other information, it's just like a name.
Well, I said it opened at another window. You were reading. We were deciphering the rest of the cat bus message.
Got it. Yeah, because it did take some deciphering. That was kind of unintelligible.
Yep. Maybe if you got to talk to it in person, it would probably be.
Oh yeah, I'm based on everything I know about talking to cats and buses. That's definitely gonna work.
Would you guys catch Badge up on the second mission that we mentioned?
Yeah, so for the second mission, Tyrell, my researcher friend, wants us to plant some information for some rich Russian to find and then expose to basically bring the guy down because he's looking into things that he shouldn't be.
Interesting. All right.
But yes, Prushkow, there's a motorcycle gang
that just uses that name for the name of the gang.
Mm-hmm. They're the Prushkow Go Gang, and I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly. But that's my best.
That's fine.
In fact, I'm certain I'm not pronouncing it correctly. Sorry, Polish viewers. But yeah, that seems to be what the bus was talking about.
Got it.
All right. While they are having this discussion, did you want to pull up your the mission that came in from one of your contacts? The
Absolutely.
Operation? Okay. So. Brig would like to meet and talk more about it.
Okay.
Or rather, Brig wants you to meet in Unseelie Troll. Who is hiring people related to strike breaking, stopping a riot, or maybe, says Brig, it's a planned riot. A kind of a shadow move between two large corporations.
So they would like stage a riot in order to accomplish some tertiary goal.
Exactly. He says that there's this this Unseelie Troll wants you to meet under a particular freeway to talk more about it, but apparently it'd like to prevent this fake riot from happening, or at least not fake riot, but this incitement to riot from happening.
Alrighty. Well, I'll communicate this information to the guys.
I definitely like the idea of stopping stopping a riot, but I'm not. Have you ever met a troll?
What, aren't all of you fairy types all buddies or something?
No. No.
Okay, so make a new friend or something. I don't know. He's a troll. He wants to meet under a bridge. It sounds pretty straightforward.
Of course, trolls always want to meet under bridges. No, that's not true. But trolls, yeah, I would rather not.
All right. I mean, sounds like there might be money in it. Court money. You know? I mean, if this guy is being hired to bust riots and he doesn't want to be heard talking about it, I've got a feeling that he's not happy with the job as it stands. Worst case scenario, maybe we bust his head for being the type of guy who does this sort of job. And best case scenario, we get a troll on our side as we take down the corpse trying to keep people from earning a living. I don't really see what the downside is, but you'd rather go chase a fucking Polish cat.
I definitely don't want to do that.
Oh, I don't recommend chasing the cat.
Well, whatever we're supposed to do.
All right. Well, I suppose that's fine as long as you always stand between me and the troll. Then sure.
Yeah, fine. All right. Look, whatever we want to do. As far as I'm concerned, we can look a little bit into all of these things and, get some information if people are feeling that.
So the troll thing it's a fake riot that we would be stopping? Did I hear that right?
An incitement to riot. You'd be stopping the riot.
But we don't know what the riot would be about from what we know so far.
All you know is that it's some kind of shadow puppet move between two large corporations.
Okay.
But you can find out more.
The only one of these that seems to be fixing righting a wrong, fixing a problem, possibly saving some people from injustice is this gang that seems to want people to move out of this housing block. Now, they seem to be bad enough that a cat driving a bus noticed. It seems like something bad is going on there.
Fair point.
I mean, I don't know if I've made it clear. This is a bus with the mind of a cat. It's not the most interested in human affairs creature that I've encountered. This is the most coherent thing I've ever seen it do.
So your argument is that we should take the job because it's from a cat. I could
No,
really use some sort of... Oh wait, there's my
no.
son. Never mind.
No, that for it to have come from the cat means it must be really significant. That any human who saw this probably would react a lot faster than that cat bus.
So everyone could already be dead.
True. This, yes, actually, that's very possible.
Well, it would be a short job in that case. Is the cat still going to pay us?
It seems to imply this guy in this picture will be paying us. So maybe we try to find him first, and maybe he can tell us what's actually going on a little more directly.
The man with no screen name says, "This is an actual conversation, and stuff like this is why I get up every morning."
But yeah, I'm open to investigating all of them from a player perspective. I just think my character's really fascinated by what would cause the cat bus to reach out.
Indeed.
That is an interesting question.
Okay, well...
Like, there's something to be said when things have gotten so bad that the cat bus is asking us to look into something.
I mean, Kate the player is very interested in this. Badge the character, maybe less so.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, which one are you guys going to look into first?
I'll leave that up to you guys.
Yeah, I'd be. The only one that I really don't think I want to go down the path of is planting evidence, because I feel like that's really counter to our. We have kind of a good vibe and a factual vibe, and that seems to violate both of our kind of things.
Well, Corey's contact did seem to indicate that this guy is an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it at least violates the more factual, honest bent that because we actually have honest as our one
That's
of our
true.
crew thing.
Our reputation
That
is
is true.
honest. All right, so I think we can cross that job off then.
All right. So which one are you guys looking into first?
I say we look into the stopping the riot.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
Well,
Down to...
so one option is to go down under the freeway and just go to the meet. If you want to look into it ahead of that, you certainly can. And I would just ask how you go about doing so.
I'll send a quick note to my reporter friend and ask her if she's heard about any impending strikes that are happening. Did he give us any indication as to what the industry was that was striking, or just a strike?
Mm-hmm. He said, I didn't mention it, but if you look back at the message, you pop it up again. It says that it is on behalf of... Hang on a sec. It's on behalf... it's apparently in the automotive industry. It's on behalf of Automotive Imperial Applications, and Barton Motors is planning to incite the riot.
All right, interesting.
What was the quick note you wanted to send?
Well, I'll just send a note to my reporter friend asking if she's heard about any impending strikes or other public demonstrations, maybe related to the automotive industry. That's all I'll give her.
She sends back... okay, so first roll of the game, Kate. First roll of the game is a gather information check.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that there is actually a structure to.
Oh yeah, it is a narrative game, but it does have some structure as well. So, how much information will you get out of her? with that rather vague request. Still, the way you word your email could certainly count. So let's see, what kind of action is this? It could be influence, applying social pressure. And this is going to be a fortune roll. It's going to be based on one of your stats, not an actual action roll. Could be based on intuit or mingle, depending on how you want to go about this.
I would rather go with intuit just because that's when I have the most points in.
Okay. So you're going to try and judge the intentions of your contact, and kind of rely on your instincts for why she's sending you the information, and kind of read between the lines.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and make a roll. Hopefully it pops up the option for a fortune roll.
Yeah.
Cool. And it's the number of dice you would get on Intuit.
That's a 4.
Okay. The first roll of the game is a 4.
All right.
Weird image they picked for that, but sure, why not?
It's a die with poker chips. It's a fortune roll.
Yeah.
It does make sense. It's just, it's not cyberpunk. So...
Look, not everything has to be made out of glowing laser things. It's fine.
Right. So you get some information, not everything that could be gleaned. So you get headlines like Barton Motors rivalry with Imperial hotting up. There's articles that are attached to these that you can look up as well on the feed. Headlines like headlines from Drone that say robot overlords say don't talk about the nasty rivalry between Barton and Imperial. And cars or guns? Question mark. How will the competition be resolved? And you come to realize that there is a kind of an oldies car convention coming up. And these two competitors that are very large corporations that have a lot of interests outside of cards, but it's kind of their core thing, are both kind of jockeying to get ahead in this. And it sounds like the employees, and I said this was on behalf of Barton against Imperial, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like some of the employees preparing for this convention have been unhappy with their poor wages and lack of lack of care from their employer, Imperial, and automotive Imperial applications. And they have been threatening strikes and so forth. More related to your interests, the location and time of the convention. It seems like this convention is kind of a focal point, a flashpoint for the contentious negotiations between the car runners and the company at large. So this is definitely something to do with the convention. Is probably around that time, and some location is definitely going to be where this happens.
Alrighty then.
And if you guys want to further pursue this, Brig lets you know that, gives you the specific details about where you can meet this mysterious, anonymous troll under a freeway overpass. He says you'll probably be able to spot him tagging a pillar. And with that... Alright, good. And with that, my friends, it is midnight. And I will let you discuss further what you want to pursue, finish creating your characters, and anything else that might come up. I'll probably fill out the information about the two factions, or actually the multiple factions we spoke of this this session. So I'll do that over the week. So we'll have information on those two companies, the Spark Guild, maybe something about the Winter Queen.
Awesome.
And that's it. I hope you guys had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was cool to go over the characters in that much detail.
Yeah.
Good. I hope that... Yeah, I think that in this kind of game, like... as opposed to like D&D, where you can kind of be like, oh, you're a dwarf fighter. Okay, that's enough information for now. Let's just start playing. Because this game grows out of the characters in a lot of ways. Like, I think it's more important that we know a little bit more about them at the start. But we will certainly learn more about you guys as we go on. Yeah, I'm excited. I have some... let's definitely go over some mechanics during the week. I have some new mechanics that I want to introduce, and I think we all need a kind of refresher on some of the... just to learn some of the newer things and structures in Karma in the Dark. But overall, I think that was pretty successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good. All right, well, folks, we will turn off the stream. Thank you so much for joining us. The man with no screen name, thank you, my friend. Grimslag, Lion Nation, who subscribed and cheered. You're an awesome bro. We'll see you folks later. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Keep it punk.